This is not about Ukraine. This is about our democracy. This is about our national security. This is about whether the American people have a right to expect that the President of the United States is going to act in their interests.
Congressman Adam Schiff, chair of the House Intelligence Committee, putting out the committee's report on the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. The committee says it will continue its investigation into the president, even though the impeachment inquiry is expected to be sent over to the House Judiciary Committee.
And the Judiciary Committee is less than 24 hours away from its first public impeachment hearing. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with the breaking details.
The House Intelligence Committee is preparing to vote on its impeachment inquiry report, which says in part President Trump personally and acting through agents within and outside of the U.S. government solicited the interference of a foreign government, Ukraine, to benefit his re-election, and that he engaged in an unprecedented campaign of obstruction.
I am gravely concerned that if we merely accept this, that we invite not only further corruption of our elections by this president, but we also invite it of the next president.
House Republicans released their own report Monday saying there is, quote, no direct firsthand evidence that Mr. Trump improperly pressured the Ukrainian president.
The president did nothing wrong. The facts are on our side.
Both reports will go to the House Judiciary Committee ahead of Wednesday's hearing with legal experts to examine the constitutional grounds for possible impeachment.
I think tomorrow is going to bring about a great civics lesson for America.
President Trump continued to bash the impeachment proceedings and House Democrats during NATO meetings in London.
I think the Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. If you look at impeachment and the word impeachment, here there was nothing wrong.
The president and White House counsel have until the end of the week to inform the House Judiciary Committee if they plan to participate in future proceedings. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Several Pennsylvania Congress members are reacting to the impeachment report. They spoke with Amy Wadas this afternoon. She joins us now live with that part of the story. Amy.
Well, Ken, I spoke to both Republican Congressman Guy Reschenthaler and Democrat Mike Doyle over FaceTime today, since they're both in Washington. And surprisingly, not surprisingly, I should say, they had a lot to say about this report.
It's pretty clear to anyone that watched those proceedings, as I did, that the behavior is impeachable.
Congressman Mike Doyle stands with the House Democrats and their findings in the impeachment report that was just released Tuesday.
The facts are uncontested. The president used and abused the power of his office for personal and political gain, and he did that at the expense of our national security.
But Republican Guy Reschenthaler, one of President Trump's biggest defenders, says otherwise.
This is a complete waste of time. I would say a colossal waste of time. We should be working on USMCA. We should be working on other free trade agreements around the world to strengthen our position and make sure that we're winning the trade war against China. Amy, let me show you this thing. It's 300 pages. It's right here. It's single-spaced. We just got it, and they expect to vote on this tonight. I mean, this is a sham.
Congressman Doyle says those who drafted the report sat through all the hearings. Doyle went on to say the president's administration refusing to testify says it all.
I think it's pretty clear when the president's top people, the Secretary of State, his chief of staff, his personal attorney, John Bolton, and the like, aren't coming forward to testify under oath to say something different than what we've heard at the testimony.
So what's next? The full House Intelligence Committee is expected to vote and then approve those findings tonight at 6. The report will then be sent on to the House Judiciary Committee. It will then be up to the committee to decide formal articles of impeachment against President Trump, with hearings that begin tomorrow. Reporting live tonight, Amy Wadas, KDKA News.